Hi everyone, welcome to lesson 3 of Cooking Matters for Kids. Today's lesson is all about whole grains. We'll discuss what is a whole grain, how do we find whole grains at the store, we'll go over MyPlate for a little bit. Sam is going to do a grain taste test with you, as well as an activity, snowshoeing, and we'll wrap it all up with a breakfast cooking demonstration. Today we're making pancakes. First, what is a whole grain? What even is a grain? Some examples of grains are pasta, rice, bread, there's lots of them. But what makes a grain whole? Let's look at the pictures. Here's a whole grain, and here is a refined grain. All grains start from a seed. Whole grains have all 3 components of the seed intact. The bran, which is the outer layer, the endosperm, which is the middle layer, and then the germ, which is the very tiny center. And then we have enriched, which just contains that second layer, which is the endosperm. The bran on a whole grain helps us to digest our sugars. It helps to slow it down and really give us lots of energy for a longer period of time. It also helps us to go to the bathroom, so that's a plus. The second layer is the endosperm. The endosperm is starchy. It gives us energy, but that pretty much is everything that it gives us. And then we have the germ. The germ has lots of B vitamins that are really good for our blood. So when I talk about whole grains, I'm talking about all 3 layers of the seed. I have some examples of whole grains to show you guys. I'm going to show you them, and you can guess them if you want, but I'm going to give you the answers right away, so feel free to pause the video if you need time to think. First one is popcorn. Popcorn's a whole grain. We have this one. This is quinoa. Number 3 and number 4 look similar, but they're different. Number 3 is called farro, and number 4 is called barley. You'll notice that farro is a little bit darker. Number 5, this is bulgur. Number 6 is couscous. It puffs up into fun round shapes when it's cooked. We have orzo. And then we have brown rice. Notice that this is not white rice. White rice would be that enriched grain that only contains the endosperm. Brown rice has all 3 of those layers. When you go to the store, how do you know whether or not something's a whole grain? Say I was walking down the cereal and granola aisle, and I stumbled across this type of granola, and I thought it looked yummy. But I want it to be a whole grain because I want to keep my body healthy. So let's look at the back to find whether or not something's a whole grain. We want to go past the nutrition facts, and all the way underneath them is the ingredients label. If the very first ingredient is a whole grain, you know that you have a whole grain in your hands. My first ingredient is whole grain rolled oats. They don't have to be organic. This is just the kind that I have today. I have an example of an enriched grain too. These are graham crackers. It doesn't have to be this brand, it's just what I have. And I can tell that it's a refined grain and not a whole grain because the first ingredient is unbleached enriched flour. The term enriched just means that the grain, they added vitamins and minerals back into the grain after they removed the bran and the germ. So this will give us energy for sure, but it won't have as much of the fiber and the vitamins and minerals that come with those whole grains. So eating our grains is all about balance. You can eat some enriched grains and then you can have some whole grains. It's really up to you, but those whole grains do have a little bit more nutrients for your body. Let's go on to MyPlate. You'll see that our grain category is right here, and this is what we're focusing on today. But we want to eat from all of these food groups every day to keep us healthy. Underneath the grains we have proteins. They can come from animals or plants. Animal proteins are things like eggs, turkey, chicken, pork. And then there's plant-based proteins that come from beans, like black beans or like lentils. They can come from nuts and seeds like peanuts, peanut butter, sun butter. And then there's even tofu, and that's from a soybean. And then you'll notice that half of our plate is fruits and vegetables. I try to make every meal that I have at least have one fruit or vegetable in it, so that I know by the end of the day, at least half my plate was filled with fruits and veggies. These are really important for vitamins and minerals in our bodies. Now off to dairy. Dairy can be in drinks or foods. Food dairy can be yogurt, cheese, and drink dairy can be like cow's milk or oat milk, almond milk. There's lots of milks. Dairy has calcium in it and it's very good for our teeth and our bones. So that's just a general overview of our MyPlate. Let's go on to Sam now, who's going to do a grain taste test and activity with you.
Hi everyone, welcome to our new lesson of Cooking Matters Kids. I'm excited to be here with you trying some whole grains this month. Today we're going to go over an activity that we will send along to your teachers. It's part of the cookbook that you would have if you were doing this in class with us. And it's a taste test activity for whole grains. I'll show you what it looks like here. So you get this cool page. On this page we have a bunch of different columns and rows here, and in each one you can try a different whole grain. So I'm going to show you a few different whole grain options I have here, and then I'm going to fill out one of these as an example for you. This is a fun way to try a lot of new grains. Samantha showed you 8 different types of grains earlier, so we know that there's a lot that we can try. And the more you eat as far as variety goes, the more nutrition you're going to have in your body. So we encourage you to try some new grains this month. And this activity sheet is a helpful way to do that. So, for example, I have these rice crackers here, right? There's lots of different types of crackers out there. Wheat thins, obviously made from wheat. These are like an everything flatbread. That means they have lots of different grains and seeds in them. You even have corn chips, right? All these are different types of grains. Today I'm going to try this rice cracker with you. Just an example. Now when we're trying new things, I always encourage you to explore a little bit more than you normally would with food, so you can smell it. This one has some like cracked pepper on there, so it's got a very peppery smell to it. A nice coating of some like saltiness on there. Delightfully crunchy, right? Good flavor. I encourage you to take your time while you're eating this, chew slowly, and try and explore the flavors and textures. That will help you fill out the sheet here. So I'm going to write rice cracker in the first column. The color, I'm going to say it's like a tan kind of color. What shape? It was square. Texture, I'm going to say crispy. And there's 2 options at the end. Did I like it? Yes, I'm going to circle that one. If you didn't like it, there's also an option for try it again later. This is great when you try something that maybe is not your favorite, but we all know that our taste buds change, right? So you might try this whole grain again later and find out that your taste buds have changed, or maybe you try it with a dip that makes you really like it, with something like guacamole maybe, or some hummus or whatever. Different grains have different flavors, and you can kind of enhance them with the different things like a dip. All right, well, I'm gonna call that good on our whole grain taste test, but I would encourage you to play around with this at home or in class. So if you can find a couple different types of grains, maybe you can fill out one of those sheets yourself and do some exploring on your own. All right, next we're gonna go do a snowshoeing activity, which I'm very excited about, and then Samantha will finish up with our recipe for today. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our activity for today's Cooking Matters for Kids class. We're gonna be going snowshoeing today with our friend Fran here. And Samantha is with us behind the camera. We're gonna go exploring at Quarry Rd trails. Now there's lots of things you can do here. There's snowshoeing, obviously. You can go skiing. They even have great sledding hills. So lots of fun winter activities. We're gonna do some snowshoeing because it's really easy. Anybody can go snowshoeing, and you can get really good exercise by going up hills or just going for a long walk. So come along with us and we'll get some exercise.
Snowshoeing is fun! That was fun!
All right, thanks for going snowshoeing with us, everyone. We're gonna send you back to Samantha now for our cooking lesson for today.
Welcome back, everyone, to the SNAP-Ed office. I had fun in the Quarry Rd trails, snowshoeing with you guys. If you can't find snowshoes at home, that's okay. There's lots of different ways to get outside and be active. You can find some cool TikTok dances and dance outside to them. If you play Fortnite, you can emote outside. If you play Minecraft, maybe you can try and build something outside, with permission, of course. There's lots of different things you can do outside. Be creative. So we're in the kitchen now and ready to make some orange oatmeal pancakes with you. Sam and I are sending a copy of the recipe to teachers that have signed up with SNAP-Ed. But if you do not have a copy for whatever reason, feel free to see the image on your screen and pause the video here. This way you can look at the directions, the ingredients, and get everything you need. Otherwise, if you have the recipe, feel free to follow along with me. So since our theme today is whole grains, I wanted to point out a couple of whole grains that are in our orange oatmeal pancakes. We have oats and whole wheat flour. Those are both our whole grains today. All right, let's get started. So before I do any cooking or prepping, I want to make sure that any long hair is tied back. And I want to wash my hands for at least 20 seconds with warm soapy water. You get the drill. You can count to 20 seconds, sing the alphabet song. What other tactics are there? Sing happy birthday twice, I think, is one of them. Or any other creative thing you can do for 20 seconds. Just make sure you scrub them good.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Queen Ham. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Queen Ham. Happy birthday to you.
So after all long hair is tied back and you've washed your hands, the next step is a French term called mise en place. it means everything in its place. You'll see here that I'm putting every utensil that I need out and all the ingredients I need. And I'm ready to go. Let's start. Step 1. In a large bowl, combine the flour, oats, baking powder, and salt. Mix well. Half a cup. We went just like this. If I scrape it along that edge it gives me the perfect amount. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Not much, just a little bit. You can choose to mix with a fork, or a whisk, or a spoon. I'm gonna use a whisk. Step 2. In another large bowl, crack egg, beat lightly with a fork or a whisk. Time to move on to our wet ingredient bowl. The instructions say mix with a fork. You could also use a whisk. They're both really good at mixing eggs. I'm gonna pop that yolk and mix. There we go. Step 3, add orange juice, milk, and canola oil to egg. Mix well. I'm gonna take my liquid measuring cup and my orange juice. So the very first time I made this recipe, I measured 1 3/4 cup of orange juice instead of just 3/4 cup, a whole extra cup of orange juice. So those pancakes came out pretty thinly and they tasted a lot like orange juice. I learned what the recipe would be like if I added an extra cup of orange juice, so it was a learning experience. Let's do this. So I'm gonna crouch down so that I can see eye level how much I'm actually measuring. If I'm up like this, I might not measure the right amount, so I want to get right down. Oops. Half a cup of non-fat milk. I need 2 tablespoons of canola oil. Hold it right over my bowl. 1 and 2. Let's mix. Step 4. Coat large skillet with a non-stick cooking spray. Heat over medium-high heat. Step 5. Add wet ingredients to dry ingredients. Stir just until dry ingredients are moistened. Do not overmix. Here we go. The most important part here, like it says on the recipe, is do not overmix. So if you still see little clumps of flour in the mix, that's okay. Mix in. Step 6. Pour 1/4 cup batter into hot pan for each pancake. Adjust heat as needed to avoid burning. I'm adjusting the heat a little bit just so that my pancakes don't burn on the bottom before they're ready to flip. Step 7. Flip pancakes when bubbles appear on the top of the batter and the edges are slightly browned, about 3 to 4 minutes. Cook until the second side is slightly browned, about 2 to 3 more minutes. Okay, they look drier on the edges. Let's flip. Ooh. The second side will take less time to cook, so just keep an eye on them. You can even, let's scooch it under a little bit and check the underside. Alright, I'm ready to make the rest of these. Have you ever made little shapes with your pancakes? I didn't today, but I like to make little Mickey Mouse heads, or you could even put a little bit of batter into a cookie cutter and they make fun shapes. But make sure the cookie cutter is metal and not plastic so you don't melt it. Da-da-da, the finished product. Today this recipe made about 11 pancakes. So expect about 11 to 12 total. I'm gonna defrost some strawberries and blueberries and put them on my pancakes. It adds a little extra vitamins and minerals, especially vitamin C for my immune system and antioxidants for my whole body. Well, thank you everybody for joining me and Sam on a whole grain snowshoeing and breakfast making adventure. We had lots of fun with you and we hope you had fun with us. If you do happen to go for a walk outside or make those pancakes or even try a new whole grain and you remember to snap a picture, I would love to see them. I do miss seeing you all in person. Well, Sam and I will see you next time for Cooking Matters for Kids lesson number 4. And until then, stay healthy.